So today I'm really excited to talk about something I wanted to make a video for a long time. Now, I want to tell you today why you're potentially missing out on miles and points, and also how you can prevent that by using Revolut. So in this video I'm going to talk about what Revolut is, its perks, the benefits, also the pricing, and most importantly why it's absolutely crucial to optimize your miles gain. If you're already familiar with Revolut, you might want to skip ahead to the point where I talk about the miles part. So I added some chapters below, and I also added some timestamps into the video description, so you can just skip ahead if you want to go right to it. Alright, so let me start by talking about what Revolut exactly is. Basically, it is a digital bank, which means that they don't have any branches, any physical branches you can go to. It's solely pretty much sitting on your phone. Now, they acquired a EU banking license some years ago. It originally comes from the UK. It's basically a fintech company now with around 15 million users. It's basically a complete bank account that anyone in a bunch of countries can use. So you have all of EU covered, you have the UK, US, Canada. I think they expanded to Japan, Singapore, and a couple more countries. In this video, I will talk about what's applicable to EU people only. I cannot really speak for the other countries and whether it functions in exactly the same way. So you might want to double check if you're from a non-EU country if this is still applicable to you. So as mentioned, Revolut is a bank that basically sits inside its app. So they do have a browser version. I just checked it out recently and I think it's not very usable, but again, it's not meant to be used as a desktop banking system. Instead, it's meant to be used as a fully powered on your phone. It comes with different debit cards. So you can see I have some here actually that I collected over the years. It's really fantastic for anyone who likes to either collect miles or points, but also for anyone who likes to travel a lot. And I'll talk about this in a bit. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not being sponsored by Revolut or anything. I just truly like this bank. I like the app. I've been using it for a couple of years now. And I just want to share why I am using it, and especially why it's a really good thing to use to maximize your miles and hotel points. So let's talk about the main feature. I just want to talk a little bit about them to show you that besides the mile optimization strategy, which I will talk about later, Revolut is also a really good bank in itself. What are some of the features? First of all, and the most important one, it's a full-blown bank account, which means you have an IBAN, you can make bank transactions, no problem. Your money is protected, which is in the EU, usually if you have a banking license, you also need to protect and insure the money of your customers. So you don't have to worry about them, going bankrupt and your money is gone. So no worries there. What's really cool is the transparency function. So that's something that they kind of advertise with, and that's something that I also hate with more traditional banks, is that they show you transactions in real time. They show you fees very transparently, exactly what it costs if you send money around in different currencies. And it's just really nice if I use the Revolut card, for example, to pay somewhere in a shop, and I get directly a notification on my watch that the transaction went through, which makes it also easier to catch any transactions that you didn't approve of. You can also pretty easily freeze the card, for example, if you lost it, especially if you're on the road, if you're in a foreign country and you're worried about that. You can easily in real time lock your card. You can change the PIN, you can change some certain settings for certain countries. So it really gives you kind of this, power to configure the card the way you want it, and you don't have to worry if you lose it. You don't have to call any, phone numbers, and you have to hang in a banking hotline for 2 hours. So this one is pretty straightforward. Also, something that I really like is that Revolut automatically sees subscriptions, so reoccurring payments, like if you have a Netflix or a Spotify account. It kind of gathers them all in one place, and you can easily see where your money goes, at least the regular scheduled payments, and you can also easily block them. So if you have some subscriptions that you don't want to actually continue, it's very easy with Revolut to stop these payments. So that's a plus. And that's especially important if you think about, these free trials where you have to sign up with a credit card. You just want to use it or try out a service for 1 month and then you don't want to continue it. And it makes it really easy with Revolut to just block further payments. Lastly, it also gives you a notification if there are upcoming scheduled payments and your bank account balance is too low. It will let you know, so that's also really nice. One thing I really like is that you can automatically round up any transactions, especially credit card transactions, and save the difference into a savings account. That means if you pay something with your credit card and it's €7.50, then it will take the remaining, it will round up to the next higher euro to €8, and it will keep the 50 cents on top and put it into a savings account, which is pretty nice because you basically don't really feel it, but it will actually accumulate to quite a bit of money if you use your credit card regularly. More interestingly even is that Revolut gives you the option of taking this small difference and instead of putting it into a savings account, you can also set it to automatically go into an ETF to buy into a commodities ETF, to buy into stocks. So that makes it really convenient to save up, which I think is a great point because sometimes we forget to do that. And as mentioned with the ETFs, with stocks, commodities, you can also buy that through the Revolut app. Now, I don't know how price competitive they are in comparison to other, stock trading platforms like eToro, but I think it's nice that you have the option at least. You have travel perks, which means that depending on which pricing plan you use of Revolut, so unfortunately that's not a free option, but basically if your flight gets delayed by more than 1 hour, you actually get free access to an airport lounge, and you can take up to 3 friends depending on your pricing plan. One really nice part is that you can actually hold currencies, like different currencies in your bank account. Usually with traditional bank accounts, that's not always easy to do. So usually it just kind of transfers everything into your base bank account currency. So in the EU zone, that might be euros. But with Revolut, you can actually hold in different currencies. And that means that you actually can buy, let's say, US dollars or Japanese yen at a time when it's quite low, and you won't face any high FX conversion rate. So that's perfect for travel if you want to prepare already and get some of the destination currency in your account. It is actually quite cheap to transfer money with Revolut. If you go to the website, they also give you this cost calculator to show how much it costs to actually transfer money into another currency. And I think, at least compared to traditional banks, it's a lot cheaper, and it's very transparent. So you don't pay more than what it shows there, which I think is a great plus, because I think we've all experienced with some traditional banks, they add on top of it some really bad exchange rates or some fees that they didn't show you before. So usually if you send money to another Revolut customer at the other side of the world, even in a different currency, it doesn't cost you anything, which is amazing. But even if they don't have a Revolut bank account, it usually costs around €3 in fees. And then you have to check on the exchange rate, but last time I checked, it's quite competitive. One other thing that's really great, especially when you're abroad, is that you don't have any ATM withdrawal fees. Now, this is only from Revolut side, so sometimes you go to an ATM and the ATM owner themselves, they will charge you a fee, which Revolut doesn't have any impact on. But other than that, you will definitely not get charged for withdrawing from ATMs, which is really good in some foreign countries where it's otherwise quite expensive to withdraw money. All right, let me just quickly talk about the pricing plans. Basically, I've been using Revolut for many years now at the free plan because I'm not really using a lot of these other perks and benefits that they're offering. But I think it depends on your purchasing behavior, whether you benefit from some of them. So let me just put up here on the screen all of the pricing plans, and you can see whether some of those are worth it for you. Maybe potentially the purchase and ticket protections might be cool, or the larger ATM withdrawal limits might be worth it for you. But I think even at the free plan, Revolut already gives you plenty of benefits. I think the only thing that's quite cool with the metal plan is that you get this very nice looking and sounding metal card, I got this card without having the metal plan. I can tell you in the comments if you're interested how to get those, just FYI. Okay, so now you might say, but Chris, why should I go to Revolut? I already have an account with N26 or TransferWise or even PayPal. Do I really benefit from a Revolut account? And indeed, there's quite a lot of digital banks, and even traditional banks have a lot of the benefits that I also just mentioned for Revolut. So the real benefit and what I really want to show you in this video is how you can generate more miles than you have previously done, probably. The real interesting point about Revolut, the tiny detail that makes it so powerful, is you can actually top up your bank account via credit card. So what does that mean? Usually if you want to get money onto your bank account, you would transfer money to it, a regular bank transfer. However, Revolut, besides allowing for that as well, allows you to use your credit card to charge your Revolut bank account up with money. This is really powerful because it actually generates miles or points if you use such a credit card. Now, this is a feature that barely any bank has, and that's really the differentiator, and I'll tell you why exactly, how you can use that. That means that, say, you have a regular credit card that earns you points. Let's say you have a Hilton Honors credit card here in Germany, for example, which earns you 1 point per euro spent. Now, what that means is if you top up your Revolut bank account for a certain amount of money, you actually generate points for that charge up. Instead of using a bank transfer that doesn't give you anything, if I transfer 1,000 euros onto the Revolut bank account, that's not very interesting. But if I use my Hilton card to top up my Revolut bank account for 1,000 euros, that generates me 1,000 points for Hilton. And this comes at no extra fee. So as long as your credit card operates in the same currency as your Revolut bank account, so for me in Germany it's euros, you don't pay any additional fees for this charge up, but you will earn points and miles depending on the cards you use. And you can then use the money on your Revolut bank account to make your regular bank transactions. So let me tell you with an example of how you can actually use that. And I think there's like 2 strategies that I want to show you. First, you can actually now, using Revolut, earn points and miles on any bank transactions you do. Let's say you pay rent every month, 1,000 euros. Obviously, your landlord usually will not take credit card as a charge, so you basically send or transfer money to him every month. You don't get anything on that. That's unfortunate. But instead of transferring the money, 1,000 euros a month, to your landlord from your traditional bank account, if you use a credit card that earns you points, let's use the Hilton Honors card as an example again, you can first charge up your Revolut account with 1,000 euros, generating 1,000 points, and then you just transfer the money from your Revolut bank account to your landlord. That way for your landlord, it's effectively the same situation, but for you with just a little bit of administrative effort, it means that you actually generated points on a previously pointless transaction. So I think that's super powerful. For me, for example, that meant that I managed to hold the Hilton Diamond status this year quite easily because you need to have 20,000 euros of charges on your credit card. Now, that at first sounds quite high, but actually if you pay your rent and your car payments and your insurance that you usually use a bank transaction for, and you let it run over Revolut by charging the bank account via your Hilton card, you can actually generate a lot of points and maintain high statuses through that, and it doesn't cost you a single thing. So I think that's absolutely awesome. If you actually want to take it to the next step, you can actually also chain credit cards through Revolut. So what does that mean? Let me show you an example and put it up on the screen. So in our example, let's say you want to buy a MacBook for 2,000 euros. If you're using your Hilton credit card, you can go to an Apple store, you can use the credit card, and you will generate the 2,000 points. But actually through Revolut, it will allow us to generate 2 sources of points. Let's say you charge up your Revolut bank account with your Hilton Honors credit card. So you generate 2,000 points there. Great. Now what you do is you have another credit card. Let's say you have a Miles & More credit card that generates miles for Lufthansa, €1, 1 mile. And you set this credit card to actually draw money from your Revolut bank account. That means that if you go to the Apple Store now and you use your Miles & More credit card to buy the MacBook, you generated miles from your Miles & More credit card, but you also generated points from your Hilton card. So with that one purchase of €2,000 for this MacBook, you actually generated miles and points at the same time. And depending on the credit cards you have in your country, you can, do wild combinations of different miles and points cards that you use. So for any kind of regular credit card purchases, you can actually generate double the points. I think that's super valuable, and if you haven't done that yet, really look into that, because otherwise you're just basically missing out on points or miles and you're just leaving them behind. Just one last caveat for Revolut is that they don't accept American Express. So unfortunately you cannot generate the very precious member rewards points. Would be amazing because they're very flexible, but they only accept Visa and MasterCard, so keep that in mind. With that being said, that's pretty much all from my side. I will put a referral code into the video description, so you can use the referral code to sign up for Revolut and also help to support that channel, so that would be very much appreciated. Do let me know if you have any questions about this. I think we talked about a lot in this video, but I really think that by using these methods, you can generate a lot more points and miles than what you've been using before. So that's it from my end. Do let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this. And also for some of the credit cards I just mentioned, I will put some referral links also in the description. So again, if you want to support the channel, would be really appreciated. So that's all from my side. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.